Hello, I'm Lucy Bradley. I'm a medical herbalist living and working in Glasgow. The reason I'm doing this video is because I wanted to take a bit of time to explain about what I do, and this came about because I recently got a dispensary at home and I was really excited about this. And I was saying to patients and friends, I'm really excited because I now have a dispensary at home and all your medicines will be coming directly from me. I'm responsible for not only preparing them but getting them out to you. And people would say, oh, that's great, but what's a dispensary? And so I found myself spending a lot of time explaining to people, and I realised that that is part and parcel of that people don't know what a herbalist does either. So dispensing and having a dispensary is really important to what I do as a herbalist. And usually herbalists use a few different modalities for medicine. They use tinctures, which is an alcoholic liquid preparation. They use dried teas, they use creams, they use powdered herbs. Sometimes they use external applications as well, like ointments, salves, liniments, the list goes on and on. So I wanted to show you, first of all, my dispensary, like what it actually looks like, and then I'm going to demonstrate how I dispense herbs that make up people's medicines, my patients' medicines. So what I'll do is I'll take you over to my dispensary just now. I'm in my flat. This is where I keep my dispensary. So over here, I'm just going to flip the camera around and then you can see. So here is, on these shelves, my dispensary. So this is alphabetically organised, starting over here in that top corner with A. So these are the tinctures, these are the liquid forms of medicine. This is overstock here. Down here I've got infused oils and creams and some other preparations, cough syrups, and then some dried herbs here. Then I've also got a cupboard up here that has the dried herbs in it too. See that? So different people have different sized dispensaries. I would say mine's quite a modest dispensary, considering this is just my first dispensary. I've got about 70 herbs in stock, tinctures, 70 tinctures in stock, and maybe like 20 dried herbs. So what I'm going to do here is my preparation area. So I've got out some dried herbs and some tinctures, and I've got the prescription that I've made up for a patient. So I'm going to show you now how I'm going to make that. So I'm going to start with the tea, the herbal tea. So as herbalists, we choose particular herbs that are relevant to the patient's presenting case, and then we blend them together. So I've just got a measuring scale here, electronic measuring scale, and then a mixing bowl as well. I'm just going to turn the scale on and zero it. And so we've got 5 grams of marigold flowers. Some of the, particularly the dried herbs, really vary in what they look like and their density as well. So flower parts, so you can see here that this is a flower head from the marigold. It's very fluffy and light, so even a small amount looks like a large volume. Whereas we'll see with some of the other herbs, they take up a bit less space. So then we've got red clover. Red clover You can see this is also the dried flower heads. This is 10. And chamomile. I think chamomile's a familiar one to most people. That's what it looks like as the dried flowers. Also the heads. So that's it. Those are the 4 herbs that are going in the mix today. So just mix it up in the mixing bowl. One of the things with blending herbal teas is that because of the different densities of the different parts, quite often the lighter bits go up to the top and the heavier bits go down to the bottom. So usually say to patients that when they get their herbs, to make sure that they mix them up thoroughly before they use them, because then they're getting all the bits that they need in their medicine. And the way in which you use dried herbs is as an infusion. Usually the aerial parts are given as an infusion, which is just the same as making a normal cup of tea. So they use 1 teaspoon of herb in a cup of boiled water. So usually they'll use something like this, a little metal tea ball that you can put your herbal tea in, or one of these that just easily sits on your cup. And you use freshly boiled water, and then you leave it in the cup covered for about 10 minutes so that the herbs get an opportunity to infuse into the water. And then you drink that usually 3 times a day, 3 cups a day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes herbs are given specifically for nighttime uses. If people are having sleep issues or anxiety issues, then they take them at night time. Roots and barks, sometimes fruits as well, heavy fruits of herbal teas are decocted, which are boiled in a pan of hot water. They take a little bit more time to extract the constituents into the water, so you boil it up and then you use that. So that's it, that's the herbal tea made. Looks quite pretty with the marigold flowers. So you just have a label with instructions on it and be given to the patient. And now I'm going to demonstrate how to dispense a tincture. So here I've got the tinctures ready for this particular patient. So I'm going to show you how we do that. Use plastic bottles to put the medicine in, and we use, this is kind of like reminds me of being at school doing chemistry, because we use measuring cylinders to measure out. So when herbalists make a prescription for a patient, they put a certain ratio of different plants in the tincture, in the medicine, for different therapeutic reasons. So I guess that's kind of one of the differences between medical herbalists and lay herbalists. They might not have that expert knowledge about how much of which plant to use and why. So I'm going to just show you how we're going to prepare this medicine. So with each bottle we have to give it a little shake before we dispense it, because sometimes they have sediment at the bottom. So I'm going to show you like this just so that you can see me pouring it, but I'm actually going to put it down on the side to look at it so that I can get an accurate read of the meniscus. Yeah. So we use in prescription medicines, we can use anywhere between, or even a single herb, all the way up to however many the practitioner thinks the patient needs. In some instances it can be as many as 9. The average number is about 5 or 7, and it's a very individual thing. It depends on how you were trained, where you trained, and what you want from the medicine. So quite often in more traditional people, in more traditional modes of herbal medicine, they use odd numbers of herbs, 3, 5, 7 or 9. Something to do with the balance between the herbs. And what happens is that the herbs act like a football team, so they work together, what we call synergistically. They work synergistically together to help each other. So this is based on the idea that the sum is greater than the parts. So by having multiple medicines together, they kind of enhance each other's function. And herbalists use particular herbs that they know go really well together to help each other. So that's why we use multiple herbs together. This one's quite a large prescription. This one's got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's got 7 herbs in it. So this for me is a pretty big prescription. I usually use about 5 herbs on average. And I like 5. I like 5, feels like a nice number. So 3 more to go. And of course, because there's so many herbs in this prescription, it means that they're all at quite low dose. So there's either 10 or between 10 and 15 mils of each one. Whereas the smaller, the less herbs you use, obviously the more you can put in. This nice yellow one is turmeric tincture. Stains a lot, so you'll notice when I pour it into the measuring cylinder, it'll totally stain the measuring cylinder. Okay, there you go, you can see. Okay, so that's it. That's the medicine made up. So I put on a sealing lid, tighten it up. This will now have a label put on it as well with the patient's name and instructions on it.